I'm Steve Tudor from Polyhedron Collider. I'm here at the UK Games Expo 2015 with the UK Gaming Media Network, and I've got Rob from Prodos Games with me, who has a very beautiful Alien vs Predator board.
Oh, I do. Yeah, indeed I do.
It's here. It's
It
real.
is.
It exists.
Finally. Yeah, we took 51 copies with us to UK Games Expo. We literally picked them up from the printer on Thursday morning in Poland and drove here with it. Yes.
Okay.
The guys arrived here at 6:15 in the morning on Friday and just worked through the day. And we've given away all of them to Kickstarter backers. So we haven't sold a single copy at the show. It's only gone to Kickstarter backers, which I think is the right way around.
Yeah, you don't have to take Kickstarter back.
Absolutely. No. I mean, they've done us a huge thing, and they've allowed us to make this amazing product. And an entire line of products which will be rolled out over the next few months there as well. So I think it's important to give them the benefits of doing that as well.
So, just in case people aren't aware,
Yeah.
can you explain? I mean, we probably all know what the Alien vs Predator license is.
Yeah.
But how does the game work? Is it a board game, miniatures game?
Okay, so in this format, it is a board game.
Yep.
It uses a lot of rule systems that wargamers will probably recognise, but nothing that's too jarred, nothing that's too different from a lot of board games as well there, okay? So it's a tunnel system. If I open it up, I can actually show some things. This is our open copy, so it's a complete mess, okay? So you've got your rulebook with all your rules in there.
It's a chunky rulebook there.
It's a chunky rulebook for a board game, but it's about right for what we're aiming for. That gives you all the rules of the game, but you also get these tunnels, and the tunnels are showing you where. That's what you lay out as your board. So it's not like an open board game or tabletop game. You use tunnels to represent the spaceship you're fighting in. Okay. We've also got cards, things like that, to play the game with, and it is a D20 based game. Okay. So in terms of the game mechanics, you've got 3 different factions. Each one works in its own way. You play through missions that are in the rulebook to tell a story on the spaceship. And each faction has their own objectives to complete in the game.
Okay. So it being mission-based, how many missions are in the rulebook?
Very good question. This is where reading the rulebook comes into play. You can tell this turned up on Friday and that I haven't done my product research. I believe it's around 8 missions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh. 9 missions, okay? So you get 9 missions to play through there, and there will be more missions coming out as we progress with expanding the game there as well. Yeah.
Alluding to that then, what other expansions do you have planned?
Okay, so to start with, all of our expansions are going to be just extra miniatures to use in the game. The rules for which are inside the rulebook, and they'll all come with stat cards to use them in the game as well, because stat cards just make it easier to check what units do and stuff like that. Miniatures in the game are all resin. They come inside this box. There are high quality Procast resin that we use for Warzone as well that are need to be assembled before you play the game. Okay, so just assemble them with super glue. Eventually those will move to hard plastic, like a Games Workshop kit or a Plastic Soldier kit or Airfix kit, arguably, that sort of thing. That's what they're going to move into eventually, but right now it's all in resin.
Okay. Any particular reason why you're in resin now and it will move to plastic?
Plastic is quite a long-term thing to do, so you need to know you're going to sell a lot of copies. We know that's going to happen, but we've had to start that process recently, so in less than 12 months, and sometimes these things can take 12 to 18 months. So although some of the sprues are ready already, so the Alien sprue and the Predator sprue is complete. The Predator one, no, the Alien and Predator one is done. The Colonial Marines one isn't ready yet.
Right.
So we're just waiting for that, and then we'll start rolling those ones out.
Is there a big difference in quality between the resin and the plastic ones?
Not hugely. So it was, Fox told us it had to be, the poses were the same and the feel of the models was the same. Okay. There are some details we've had to drop because it just won't cast in plastic, or we've had to move some things around ever so slightly. So the skulls on the belt of one Predator have moved so that it all casts properly. And obviously we have to keep in mind that a hobbyist doesn't necessarily want a model that's in 100 pieces. So we've tried to limit it around, at very most, 10 parts per model. So some of them are still quite complex, but others aren't quite so complex. And the interesting thing about resin is most of these models are at most 3 parts. So very few parts.
Okay. You mentioned the Fox system, so you have to basically get all this approved.
Yeah.
The rumours you kind of hear on the internet is you had a bit of a bumpy ride with that.
Bumpy ride's not fair, really.
Okay.
I think it's clear neither of us understood what it was to be involved in this kind of project. They hadn't dealt with a miniature game like this before, with so many components. I mean, in the past they've had HorrorClix, but it was the American department that dealt with that, not the British department. Because we're a UK company, we have to deal with the UK side of Fox. So a lot of it was us teaching them what our expectations were. So for example, we didn't want to have copyright information printed on the figures.
Yeah.
Right? Because that would look so ugly under the leg of every single model.
Yeah.
Whereas for them, it's just like, well, it's just an action figure, isn't it? So we had those kind of discussions, and we came to a medium agreement where all the bases have to have Fox on them, but not the models.
Okay.
And also, so they didn't understand us, and sometimes we didn't understand them. So there's certain graphical things we couldn't do. We wrote an incredible amount of background and fiction that we made up ourselves that we can't publish because it's new fiction for the background, and that's a huge thing to try and get approved. So it's just not worth the effort. And we just gone for the game.
So do they have, I've heard like Star Wars has this, like a lexicon of this is the official Alien vs Predator story and details, you know, did you have to go through and like, well,
I'm not, well, okay, what I can say, I'm not allowed to comment directly, but what I can say is that all of the research for what is in the setting has been done by us.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. They do have one guy who approves everything to do with Alien, Predators and everything in between, but they don't have a kind of a Bible for the setting as such. We've had to do all that research. So, for example, one issue we had was you have a flamer template, okay? On the back is an acid spit. They couldn't find a reference for acid spit, okay?
Right.
We had to go through and find all the references we could, and in the end it was Alien 3 that saved us, because Alien 3, the dog alien, spits blood at someone at one point, and in a lot of the video games they do that as well.
Yeah.
So,
I suppose that's where the boundary is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just finding these tiny little details, because in a war game or a miniatures game it's really important to have all those little details that make the setting, you know? And what I should say as well is this is just the board game, okay? One of the expansion sets will be a separate book that allows you to play an open tabletop game. So you get rid of the board and you play on a normal, like a wargaming tabletop.
Yeah.
So you can play in a Predator Temple, or you can play in a Colonial Marine, Weyland-Yutani complex. You can do Hadley's Hope. You can do all those things. You can play through all the scenes in all of the AVP video games, you know? But you do that using the open tabletop rules there as well.
Is there much difference between the two rule sets?
I wouldn't say so. I think it's mostly about movement and about how the skills work and how you shoot and all that sort of stuff that changes.
Yeah.
And there's some other elements that we're keeping as a little bit of a surprise for when that does come out.
Okay, so you said that you had 50 copies that you're giving away to Kickstarter.
Yes, indeed.
So when is the actual game available to the
so the actual street release date is the 30th of June.
Yeah.
Should be available in any gaming store and in most geek stores. I'm the guy they come to talk to about stocking it as well, so it's quite convenient. And the distributors are all taking it on board, but again our aim is to get all the Kickstarter stuff out first, you know. So we have 300 copies arriving in our warehouse on Monday, and then probably another 300 on Wednesday, and then so we're trying to roll it out as quickly as possible, but making sure the quality is tip top.
Yeah. Current AVP, you've also got your Mutant Chronicles miniatures game. Anything else planned?
Yeah, we've got some new releases. What we're doing with Warzone all the time is releasing 1 or 2 releases every single month.
Yeah.
This month we haven't been able to because AVP has been so popular and so busy, we just haven't been able to.
Yeah.
But next month we have some new releases coming out in June. And also today at UK Games Expo and tomorrow we've got our International Championships tournament where we've got teams who've come over from Poland, Sweden, Italy and all over the UK to come and compete, to find out who's the best Warzone player in the world currently, or at least in Europe currently, where the top prize is £1,000 cash. We've got £500 credit, £250 credit for second and third, all sorts of stuff, and every single person who comes in is getting a goodie bag full of Warzone Resurrection goodies.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool stuff.
So any plans for any other games, or is Warzone AVP kind of taking up all your time?
Right now we are focusing on AVP and Warzone, plus the manufacturing wing of our company. We do an awful lot of manufacturing for other companies.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a whole load of stuff.
Let's get to that actually. I've noticed your first link was this Wordforge Games.
Yes, so Wordforge Games is a company that we provide services for as well.
Okay.
One of our directors is involved in that company as well, so he designed a game called, I think it's Devil's Run, and we make all the miniatures for him, or we've at least aided him in some of the Kickstarter miniatures that he's done, and we're hoping to continue doing that the whole way through, but we'll see.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Good to see you, and good to see Alien vs Predator here.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers again.